5. The Future Uses of Technology Upholding Reliable and Enhanced Networks Act, or Future Networks Act, as amended.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
Union Calendar Number 135, H.R. 4045, a bill to direct the Federal Communications Commission to establish a task force to be known as the 6G Task Force and for other purposes.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Pallone, and the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Latta, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from New Jersey.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on H.R. 4045.
Without objection.
And, Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman from New Jersey is recognized.
I rise in strong support of H.R. 4045, the Future Networks Act. Even as we await the full deployment and utilization of 5th generation or 5G wireless networks, U.S. communications and technology companies are collaborating on the next generation of networks, specifically 6G networks. We may not be able to predict now the technological innovation that will come with these networks, but based on our nation's experience to this point, we can foresee the issues that will need to be addressed to get 6G networks off the ground, issues like supply chain availability, security and equality in deployment and adoption, and they're all going to need to be reviewed and resolved. And therefore, it's not too early for government and relevant stakeholders to begin discussing these issues now. And that's the goal of H.R. 4045, the Future Networks Act. This bipartisan legislation would require the FCC to convene a task force to examine relevant 6G issues. The task force will be made up of stakeholders from industry, public interest organizations, academic institutions, and relevant federal, state, local, and tribal government representatives. Finding agreed-upon approaches and solutions to these issues now will make for a smoother transition in the future. So I want to thank our Communications and Technology Subcommittee Chairman Mike Doyle, as well as Representatives Johnson and McBath for their bipartisan leadership on this bill. I urge my colleagues to support it today, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman from New Jersey reserves the balance of his time. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.